You are listening to a Dynamic Works Productions podcast. This show is available on iTunes, Stitcher Radio Network, and many, many more podcast services around the world. You can find all our content, music, videos, books, podcasts, and more on our website, www.dynamicworksproductions.com. Have questions, comments, or concerns for us? Head on over to the social tab on www.dynamicworksproductions.com if you'd like to talk to us. Now, on with the show. Welcome back to another episode of the Fork in Your Ear podcast. I'm your host, as always, author, podcaster, and gamer, Tim K.A. Trotter. Joining me in the sidecar, the little the side saddle, the kangaroo front pouch, the one, the only, Brock Loomis.
Morning.
So lots been going on in the world of technology and games and stuff this week. We got a lot to talk about this week, from Apple press conferences to PlayStation unveiling a bunch of games, although not super great ones, I guess, to things going on with TV shows and movies, to the what we all thought was inevitable and turned out to be true, is the announcement of Borderlands 3. Which I'm sure we'll get into because me and Brock are playing Borderlands 2 right now.
Yep.
Indeed. And, got some life stories and, the usual bric-a-brac on this week's show. So let's spin the ring and find out where we land. Oh, okay. Well, we landed, we landed right on life stories.
Okay.
And I think, so, my life story, this week is, somewhat embarrassing, and I'm pretty sure you know what. Jessica's in the back. She's already snickering about it right now. So, I think she told you about it earlier in the week. So, I was moving some things around on my hard drive on my laptop, and, I have this program on my Mac called Daisy Disk, and it categorizes all of your files and shows them to you in a color coded graph, so you can see what's taking up space, so you can delete stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And what was taking up literally the most space on my hard drive was my porn collection. 240 some odd gigs 92. Of porn. 292? Was it 292? All right. Jessica's nodding that it's 292 gigs of porn.
Well, I mean, you have had that computer for 10 years, so that's a long time.
Sure.
Porn collection.
I mean, and I keep backups, so I've had everything I've ever collected.
It's so ridiculous. It's just unnecessary.
It was a little unnecessary. So I didn't get rid of my porn collection. It's moved onto another hard drive. But I pared it down and moved, the usual rotation of the porn collection onto my personal iCloud drive.
Jesus. How much did that cost you?
I didn't got any. I mean, I was already paying for it. So,
I
already used the cloud. So it's what's it, 2 terabytes for 90 cents a month or something?
Something like that.
Yeah, it's It's very inexpensive. But the fact of the matter is that I had to like it was so bad. So basically my computer was so full I couldn't move the podcast files around to actually create the file for the show that goes out to everybody that you're listening to now. Like I couldn't do it because little insider knowledge here. So basically, I recorded a lossless format, so it's like about 3 hours. That's like it's like 20 gigs of audio, which is kind of crazy, and then that gets basically homogenized down into a smaller file, and then it goes through a series of programs until it ends as like a tiny little itty bitty file for your download consumption. And the fact of the matter was, like, I would go to like make the file, and it like needs extra hard drive space to like make the file or do whatever it needs to do, and it's like can't do it, hard drive full. And I was like, fuck.
So ridiculous.
Yeah, really, really quite ridiculous. So, yeah, you ever kept an ungodly amount of porn?
I mean, when I was younger and I actually had like porn magazines, I was probably like 16 or 17. I mean, it was before I had an iPhone and porn was like legit a fingertip away.
Mm-hmm.
But like I remember like I had stacked them really weird one time and I went to bed and I woke up, my fucking back was killing me for like a week. And then
Mm-hmm.
like I went to go pull some out from underneath my like in between my mattress and my fucking and my box spring, and it was like there was like 6 or 7 magazines stacked up in one spot, like right where it would cause my back to hurt. And I was like, oh
Mm-hmm.
fuck, that's why. And so I like spread them all out again, and then like I mean it got to a point where like my parents didn't care. Like by the time I was like 16 and 17, they were just like, fucking just keep it out of sight. We don't want to see that shit. You can do your own laundry. So,
Fair enough.
yeah. So yeah, that's about the only time I like my porn stash affected my life.
I gotcha. Fair enough. Yeah. Yeah, it was I mean, thankfully the girlfriend was understanding, but she did give me these looks every time we'd go to bed, and she'd be just like 200 like 292 gigs of porn. Why so much? Just like ridiculous. Cuz it is. Cuz it is.
It
Super
is.
is.
It is super ridiculous.
Oh man. Yeah, so that's a life story. I'm trying to think of some other life story besides that. I mean, that was the one that I had on the tip of my tongue. I'm not sure anything else crazy happened this week.
No, I mean,
Been reasonably tame. Nothing crazy work wise. Yeah.
I mean, we did spend 6 hours on a job site yesterday fixing somebody else's mistakes. Or I did.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah.
And I sat in a corner and handed you things and played Hearthstone, which is terrible, but it's the truth.
Yeah, like it's a whole giant cluster from these really incompetent security people that did work on this site that we've been going to for years.
Yeah.
And it's just like it was terrible. Like, yeah. So that was a terrible way to end the week.
Yeah, it was not great. It was not great, especially because it was like a fucking 12-hour day.
Yeah.
And we started a little earlier that day too, because we thought we could get done quickly.
Because you jinxed it.
I did jinx it. The first thing we did was super fast and easy, and then it's like not so much.
Yeah.
Not so much at all. Any stories about your kid this week you want to share?
Not really. I mean, the only life story I got is I turned 30 this week.
Oh fuck yeah, yeah. Oh, that's right. I was gonna revisit this for the show. So I had some 30 questions for you.
Okay.
If you could tell your 20-year-old self something you've learned as your 30-year-old self, what would you tell yourself?
Uh, well, for one, don't mess around with no hose.
Okay.
Uh, with certain names that I would avoid. And
Yes, thank you.
then
So I don't have to edit it out again.
yeah, and then um, go to school for machine like CNC machining. Love the job. It's just the hours were terrible, and if I had gotten into it younger, I would have had way, I would have been farther along and had more options. Not being 30, you know.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, other than that, maybe because you and I discussed this earlier this week,
Yeah.
and was like, well, maybe if we had worked harder on our initial podcast and tried to carry over
Oh yeah, that's right.
that success that we had with our first podcast, it was actually pretty popular.
It was crazy popular. Like, all the success that I've had on this show has been, slow, slow,
Yeah,
slow, and sometimes steady. And you just have to keep at it. Whereas, for those who don't know, me and Brock did a podcast called Wizard's Rule, the number one Legend, Secret, and Sort of Truth podcast, like 2007, 2008, something like that. Crazy.
yeah, it was actually really, really popular, and there wasn't another podcast like it for a
Yeah.
good 7 or 8 months.
I don't think there ever was. I mean, even the competitors, like, no offense to them, kudos for trying, but our show was fucking hot, man. Our
Yeah,
show was
we I
was the
think
business.
yeah, it
we,
actually
we
really
brought the
was.
thunder.
Um, and not only that is our fan group, our followers
Yeah,
were really really on board and hopeful and did
yeah,
tons of really cool stuff. Like we had our own forum
yeah,
and website. Like it was that popular.
yeah. It was crazy. Like we didn't do any of that shit, but like fans did it for us. It was awesome,
Yeah, it
and it
was.
was just like it's just a wild rocket ride, and like something that I was telling Brock, like I would tell young Tim, if I can try to capture that shit in a bottle, like try to make more, or try to make like profitable money off of that and like keep that train going, you know
Yeah, carried it over.
but live, learn, or live and don't learn, and then figure out how to learn it later, I guess.
Yeah.
As the case may be. So I'd say that. Oh yeah, and I took you to we had some Dick's Burgers,
Yep. That was
which
we
is
had
not
Dick's.
a sexual pun for those who don't live in Washington State. Dick's Burgers is a famous, like really old school fast food burger joint, and it was fucking delicious.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like I even I broke my. We all know I'm allergic to fucking everything. I broke my cheat rules. I broke my rules a little bit and dived into those Dick's Burgers. Fucking just ham fisted them in my mouth. Is great. It's delicious. I kind
Yeah,
of want
they
Dick's Burgers right now.
yeah, they were awesome. And then Friday we went to another kind of
Ooh, yeah, that's another
local
one.
legend. Yeah, we went to Caveman, which was also amazing.
Yes.
So
Super
Caveman
good.
barbecue. How did Jess like it?
I mean, it was predictably, it was cold and soggy. Like we reheated it. She thought it was pretty. Hey, you,
Yes.
Peanut Gallery.
Hello,
We're
fans
we're
out there.
we're recording.
Hello.
Brock's asking how you liked the salmon dip.
I thought for a sandwich that had roasted salmon on it, it wasn't bad.
Okay, wasn't bad. So basically, just spat in my face. One of the greatest sandwiches of all time.
I told him that when I have sandwiches, I prefer to have like deli meats, not salmon.
Mhm.
So to have a salmon and cream cheese sandwich. It actually wasn't bad.
Then why didn't you? You should have gotten her the French dip, man. The French dip would have been way better.
I couldn't have because it's the Friday. She couldn't eat meat on Friday.
Oh, Jesus, that's just silly.
It's for the thing.
Yeah, Lent. I know.
Yeah, that thing. I knew what it was called. I was just waiting for you to
Lent,
say it, so
Lint,
say
whatever.
Exactly. Exactly.
I mean, you could have said it was a fish sandwich, and then she could have chose to believe you.
I mean, I don't think she's that gullible.
I'm not saying that she's gullible. She could just choose to believe you.
Okay, yeah, choose to believe the sopping beef sandwich is totally frickin'
Not beef sandwich.
the not beef. Yeah, exactly. Am I able to join you yet?
No, I'm still.
You're still working on those starter levels. Fair enough. Okay. Well, that does it for life stories this week. Let's spin the ring and see what else we got here. All right. Landed on. Oops. Oh, that's all right. Oh, that's it. There we go. All right. Landed on water. Okay, cool. So, not. I guess it doesn't matter this week. I don't need to talk about that. So this was a big deal to me because talking about entertainment here, folks. So Netflix, who has bought the international rights to distribute the original Neon Genesis Evangelion, coming out in July, and they have redubbed the entire series and replaced the original beloved voice cast with some other people whom we don't know who has replaced them yet.
Yeah.
Now, this is a big deal to me because obviously I'm biased. I grew up with the original cast, and, sometimes things get redubbed. For example, I'm watching Escaflowne right now with my girlfriend, and they actually redubbed it for the Blu-ray collection. I guess the difference on that one is, Evangelion is the kind of show that it's definitely beloved, Escaflowne is a beloved anime, and it doesn't, it can be redubbed. There are other characters who can play those, or other actors who can play those voices. Evangelion is has the kind of rabid fandom where in Japan and US, people sent death threats and crap, and it's kind of ridiculous. So the fact that Netflix chose to replace the voice acting is completely crazy to me, because not only is on top of the fact that it's beloved here in the US, but also it has one of the most accurate dub translations of pretty much most animes.
It won a bunch of awards because of it, I think.
Yeah, because the gal who was the voice director was also super fluent in Japanese, and she studied in how to translate stuff to English. And she spent a lot of time tweaking the dialogue just right, so even the lip syncing, as best as it could match up to the original animation,
which for its time was pretty amazing.
Yeah, it was super amazing at the time. I definitely remember lip syncing not being, in the 90s, it was you knew it was dubbed, right? You knew it was from Japan. But Evangelion went the extra mile, and they just did it so good,
They did.
So I don't know. I'm personally super mad about this, and for me, to put it in perspective for other people who maybe are not anime, maybe you watched Batman the Animated Series, right? And for many people, particularly of our generation, Kevin Conroy is the Batman, the only Batman.
Yes.
the Batman. He is, just like how Mark Hamill is the Joker. So it'd be like if you had like a new release of that series, like the same cartoon, right? Same animation, and it had new actors. That's the kind of blasphemy we're talking about here. So,
Yeah, and not only that, but when you told me how they did the dub actors dirty, like Netflix put out a
yeah.
casting call to them like 3 months ago,
Yeah, after they'd
and
already casted it as
yeah,
like a courtesy.
yeah, they had already cast and recorded the redub, and they're like, "Oh, here, now you guys can audition," and then we tell you no.
Yeah, that's
And I was
just
like, "That's super fucked." Like, I'd be hella pissed.
yeah, and many of the actors, the original actors, are on Twitter, and they're complaining about how they didn't even get a chance to do a proper audition, and it was just a courtesy so that they could say that they've auditioned and that they didn't get the part to try to like PR damage it.
Yeah,
I
quell
guess.
the murderous fan base,
Mm-hmm.
which is silly because I mean, the creator got legitimate like hand delivered death threats from the first movie, or no, the ending of the first
Yeah, the ending of the TV show.
yeah, the TV series. And then when he made the next movie, he was still getting fucking like legit death threats. like I
Yeah.
like I don't think Netflix understands the power of the fan base like this.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't know how it's gonna go because like the other thing is, like it is an older anime and it's one that hasn't um I mean, it has a reboot, but it's done by all the original team, the original voice actors, the original animators, the original creator and all that stuff. And like it has a reboot in movie form that's still going on to this day. But it's very respectful to what came before, even though it's new. And this is just kind of like, Netflix is probably the widest platform for someone to view anime on, I would guess. So the fact that a whole new era of people are going to watch this and they're not going to have the original voice actors, that just it saddens me deeply.
Yeah, and to the voice acting was amazing. Like the actual voice actors did an amazing job uh presenting the characters' emotions and conflictions. And
Yeah.
I just don't see it happening very well. I just don't see it being as well done as the original actors who had freaking 10 years under their belt before they even touched Evangelion.
Yeah, it's true. And for all we know, like it could be like a really good cast, like they might do a really good job. But, unfortunately, like I'm biased, like it won't be the same. Like it sucks. Like it just sucks. I
Agreed.
don't know any other way to go around it, you know.
Totally
But
agreed.
either way, regardless of how good or not good the new dub may be, I still encourage everybody to watch it when it comes out onto Netflix because it's a classic, and there's really nothing else like it. You know?
No, there's not.
Yeah, it's
People have
just
attempted.
yeah, people have definitely attempted. So yeah, that's it's a whole thing. Moving on to the next entertainment thing. So this has actually made even more of a splash than my initial post on this. Um, so there was a drama club back east who put on a high school stage production of Alien.
Yes.
Did you see this?
Yes, I saw the post. I have not seen the videos or anything that people took though.
There's a couple like little snippets and videos, and it's pretty fucking crazy intense.
Yeah.
Like the sets look great, the alien's amazing. And supposedly like everything, like all the set stuff was like just all recycled like crap. Like it was just like their art department and stuff at the
Yeah.
high school. And they like did like the face hugger scene, and they were like allowed to do blood. Like it was crazy good.
Oh, that's awesome.
But I guess it got so popular on social media that both um gosh,
Ridley
why can't
Scott,
I think of her name? Yeah, Ridley Scott and God, she played Ripley. What's her
Sigourney
name?
Weaver.
Yeah, Sigourney Weaver. Both of them have like reached out to the high school
Oh, that's awesome.
thing, and they were just like, "You're like this is fantastic. I approve."
Yeah,
like,
no kidding.
yeah, like no, it was just so good. Like, the videos online are not like the full thing or anything like that, but you can see like the get away from her, you bitch scene, face hugger scene, like all the classic scenes are there. And they're done like for a high school stage production, like the production value is crazy insane.
That's
So,
awesome.
I just I just thought I'd bring it up because it reminded me of the first year I did my Halloween crawl. And they had a room that was done up like the upside down from um Stranger
Stranger
Things,
Things. Yeah.
and it was done on by this local high school, and it was like really well done, and it totally what?
It's a high school and middle school.
Oh, it was a high school and a middle school. Okay, peanut gallery back here can keep their traps shut. We gotta butt in.
Inaccurate information.
Inaccurate information. Okay, fine. But like I don't know, like I just think stuff like that is like super cool that both teenagers, well, first of all, it's surprising that teenagers like of this era are like super into aliens, because it's like we've had like one new film in like the last 10 years really,
Yeah.
because let's be honest, we don't count Prometheus. That's not a thing. And like the film we did get was like it was okay, it wasn't great. So I don't know. It's interesting to see that some things in culture like continue to still be super popular. Like aliens are still super popular, and things like Terminator and stuff like that. Um, I don't know. I just think it's cool. You know?
Oh, I agree. I'm really hoping that it's gonna. I saw somebody else do, like somebody posted like, "Hey, do this next," and it was another like giant
Yeah.
movie, like Predator or something.
I think
Like,
somebody suggested Avatar.
oh yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Which would be freaking hilarious and awesome, just because it would be like that's just amazing to see kids take that kind of initiative on something that's over 30 years old.
Yeah. Yeah. It's I don't know. It's cool, and it gives me hope that not everything will be I don't know, dubstep and Fortnite dances.
Right. Totally. I agree on that.
So moving on, Apple had its Showtime event press conference Monday morning, and they announced just a lot of odd things for Apple to have announced. A lot of it we saw coming, some of it we didn't see coming. Apple announced a news magazine subscription service for $9.99 a month, and it has unlimited access to like 300 different magazines, and you can like read them on your phone and tablet and all that sort of stuff if you're into magazines. I guess the value was it would cost you, like if you were to subscribe individually to like these 300 magazines, it'd be like $9,000 a year or something. So for
Jesus.
$10 a month, you get like a crazy value. So if you're into magazines, check that out if you're on the Apple platform. The other thing they announced, which is super strange and it may be bad, but it also sounds too good to be true, is they announced a what they officially call the Apple Card, and it's basically an Apple credit card, and it's two things. It's a digital credit card in your phone, So it can be used with like readers and all that sort of stuff. But you also get like a physical card made out of titanium, because reasons, I guess. And the thing with it though is you get 2% actual cash back to your card, like on the day that you use it on like just any old purchases. So like if you buy like $100 of stuff, you get 2% of that back as like digital cash in your phone that day to use on whatever.
That's pretty ridiculous.
Which sounds almost too good to be true. And then the other thing is no late fees ever, no overage charges ever. And on top of that, it's got like a really cool app that like using the built-in onboard AI on your phone to like extrapolate and make your credit card bill make more sense. And what I mean by that is they gave the example of like, we've all seen credit card bills and it's like a really fucking long list of stuff. And then there's always that like, oh, 43rd Street, spent $29. And it's like, what the fuck is 43rd Street? Like, what is that? Like,
Yeah.
who spent this money? And then you gotta like remember or figure it out. So I guess the Apple Card, in conjunction with an app on your phone, will use the business address's location and extrapolate its best guess based on AI to determine like what that 43rd Street bill probably is. And the example they showed was 43rd Street, and then in the phone it's got like a nice little icon list of like where things have been purchased, like Apple and Best Buy and such like that. And then the one that was unknown, like the AI figures out that it's probably a 7-Eleven at 43rd Street. And so it lists it as that so that you can determine and help better determine your bill.
That's interesting.
So I don't know. It's a very strange thing for Apple to announce like an actual credit card like that you can sign up and get. And it's strange because it's like they're like, we're never ever going to charge you an overage charge. Like if you go over, the card just stops until you pay your bill, which honestly makes a ton of sense. Because it's like that's better. That's better than getting that $130 slap on the wrist for like, you went over. We'll still let you use the card as we charge you more money, which is
super annoying.
It's happened to us all. But the only thing that's up in the air about this Apple Card is nobody knows what the APR is going to be on the card. Because they basically announced the card and said it's coming this September. So I assume more details are to come. Because that was my question. Like the whole time I'm like, this card sounds great. This card sounds too good to be true. What's the APR? What's the APR?
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think it's cool, and it's definitely something to keep an eye on. Let's see the other things that Apple announced. So the rumors were true. Apple did have a gaming announcement, although it wasn't a streaming service, which we had hypothesized. It was actually that's called Apple Arcade. Sadly, they didn't take our name of the orchard, so we lose that bet.
Yes, we do.
So Apple Arcade has no launch date and no, like, the details were kind of odd about it. Like, they announced it and they showed some stuff, but there's no details on really how it works necessarily. So it's not a streaming service. It's a subscription service, and you have access to, they build it as 100+ exclusive games that are cross-playable across all of your Apple devices and your Mac. So they gave the example of like playing a game on your phone than like going somewhere, playing it on your iPad, and then, coming home, playing it on your TV, and then like playing it on your laptop. Like all the same game, like, cross save, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
But then they also showed like that Apple is actually going and courting indie developers to make exclusive games for Apple, which is new. And that they're helping to fund games that might not have gotten made otherwise. So it sounds kind of like they're taking a little bit of a page out of Sony's book, and they're like looking at interesting games and going like, okay, we want that on our platform. We are going to back this developer to make it exclusive for us. Which is really like, I mean, it's a good strategy because it's obviously worked for Sony, but it's interesting that Apple is doing that because they've really kind of had a hands-off approach to gaming. Apple has always kind of taken the stance of like, hey, we have a platform for you to make a game on. Go make it.
Yeah.
It's like we have hardware and we have software. Up to you what you want to do with it. Want to make games? Make games. And obviously, people have, because there are bazillions of games on the iOS App Store right now. I think we pointed out last week, even some really good classic stuff like KOTOR and Jade Empire, and some more modern things like Hearthstone, and you can play fucking Fortnite on your phone now and all that sort of stuff. But the games that they showed off, they had a sizzle reel, and like the games looked like really fucking like games, which was
like
very
full-fledged.
surprising. Yeah, like they had a game called Oceanhorn 2, which there was a first Oceanhorn like ages ago, and basically it was like a really, really good ripoff of the top-down Zelda games.
Yeah.
And like Oceanhorn 2 looks like full 3D Breath of the Wild style. With like crazy good graphics, and they showed like some cool story games. They showed like some cool, like the games looked like really like impressive. Like they didn't look like quote unquote cell phone games, they looked like real meaty experience games. And I was just kind of surprised that, Apple spent the time to dedicate a portion of their conference to, kind of putting a bigger stake in the ground of like, hey, we already have a huge platform for games, technically, if we count all of our Apple devices, which, there's lots of, And so, I don't know, it's interesting. So it wasn't as big a stake in the ground as like Google being like, we're going to go head to head with frickin' Xbox and Sony, and we're going to have like Assassin's Creed and all this stuff. It wasn't that kind of stake in the ground, but it was kind of like a, hey, this subscription service is coming summer. There'll be no ads, no pop-ups. The games will be AAA quality games, and you can get them all 100 of them, like for the whatever the subscription price is. And I say whatever the subscription price because they didn't fucking say, which is also weird, like super weird. They're like, big huge thing, a lot of games coming summer. No detail on price, So I don't know. I think it's interesting, and it's definitely something to watch because the games they did show do actually look like super good. So we'll see. We shall see.
Yeah, it'll be interesting.
Yeah. And so then the big one was, which we knew was coming, was Apple announced both its name and a significant amount of their TV shows that are coming this fall. Once again, so we were wrong on the name. So they're calling it Apple TV Plus. It's the official name of their streaming service. And it'll be available on all Apple devices and Windows devices and all smart TVs.
That's a lot.
Yeah, it is a lot, actually, because they're hitting more than just their installed consumer base.
Yeah.
The other weird thing about this is like they showed off all of these shows, and they had it being introduced by like all of these like all these famous people. Like they had famous people get up on stage, talk about their show, and then after they talked about their show, at the very end of the conference, they had a sizzle reel. It was a very odd way. Like you'd think it would have been like sizzle reel and then famous actors talking about their show, but
Yeah.
they didn't. They did not do it that way. So once again, all we know is it's the streaming service and it's coming this summer. Again, no details on price. I don't know what's up with that. It's very odd.
Kind of ridiculous.
It's super weird, right? It's like, here's all this cool stuff. When's it coming out? I don't know, later. What's the price? I don't know, later.
Whatever we fucking damn well please.
I mean, basically. So the ones officially confirmed at the conference, putting aside the rumors that we've been talking about for weeks now, Amazing Stories from Steven Spielberg is going to have 10 episodes, and it's going to be like sci-fi pulp kind of thing. And Steven Spielberg gave the example of like an old World War II pilot who like is flying his plane and he suddenly ends up in today's timeline and like what he does and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
There's the morning show, which we previously talked about, that is starring Reese Witherspoon and Jennifer Aniston, as well as Steve Carell. And I guess we talked about this. I guess it's not like an actual, like it's not like an actual
show.
Yeah, it's not like an actual morning show. It's like one of those, like it's like a drama, like behind the scenes, like before they go to air kind of thing.
Oh, like a mockumentary almost.
Like you ever see the HBO show The Newsroom?
Yes.
Or Studio 60 or any of those kind of shows?
Yeah.
Any of those Aaron Sorkin shows, basically. So it's basically that. So it actually might be pretty good. So there was a cool, and they actually showed some of this in the sizzle reel, TV show called For All Mankind, which is explores what might have happened if the world global space race had never ended, and it's starring Joel Kinnaman, who's from Altered Carbon, and he was RoboCop, the most recent RoboCop, and this is the show that's actually being done by Ronald D. Moore from Battlestar Galactica and Outlander and Star Trek Next Generation and all that kind of sci-fi fame.
Yeah.
So I'm actually most interested in this one. In the sizzle reel, it showed Joel Kinnaman like drinking at a bar, and like he's like really mad, and he like slams his beer down, and there's like a paper there, and it's like Soviets first to land on the moon, and I was like, what? So it's like some alternate history type stuff.
Yeah.
So I don't know. That sounds really cool to me. So super down for that. So another show called Truth Be Told, from Octavia Spencer, and it's based off of a novel by Kathleen Barber, and it focuses on the story of a podcast that reopens a murder case, similar to the popular podcast Serial.
Okay.
So that's a thing. Like we had reported on last week, there's a documentary series called Home, which offers looks at never before seen extraordinary homes. This one is super interesting to me. So Jason Momoa and Alfre Woodard got on stage at this Apple press conference to announce this show called C, and it's a really high concept. It looks kind of Games of Thrones-ian, actually, because it's like kings and queens, but the story is basically the world has had a post-apocalyptic event, and everybody in the entire planet is blind. And like 400 years after this event, like kings and kingdoms have like risen up, and so everybody in the series is blind, and it's like how they've have changed like the whole world and have devolved into like these kings and kingdom thing. and it looks like hella sci-fi. Like it looks like people riding horses, but with like crazy like Mad Max type like slapped together fucking technology. It looks fucking awesome. Like there's a trailer for it. I encourage people to see it. Ho, terrible joke.
Stupid.
I know it's terrible. I'll see myself out.
Yes, please.
Jesus. Way to make fun of blind people, man.
Oh, oof. I know.
Terrible,
But it looks good.
person.
I'm just saying, it looks good. Not trying to make a joke there. I'm just saying, it looks really exciting. There's another TV show coming from Kumal Nanjiani. I can't say his fucking name. Who's from Big Sick as well as Silicon Valley, and it's an anthology series that will look at the funny, romantic, heartfelt, and inspiring true stories of immigrants in America. And he gave an example of, I guess there was a true story of a dude during the Bush administration where there's like a 10-year-old boy and his family like ran a hotel, and then his mom and dad get deported, and then he runs the hotel secretly for 5 years, and then like schemes to get his family back into the United States. And I was just like, that sounds great on paper, even if it wasn't like a true story. Like that sounds cool.
Yeah, that sounds really interesting, actually.
Yeah. So there's a psychological drama coming from M. Night Shyamalan called Servant, and it's going to follow a young couple who hire a nanny to care for their newborn child. And that's all we know about it. But we also know that Rupert Grint from Harry Potter and Tony Cabal from Planet of the Apes will star in it. So that's interesting. Let's see. And then there was more details on like a lot of other series, but I'll be honest, my voice is getting hoarse. So I
Well, I mean, from the
do
sounds
you want me to shoot you the article, or
Yeah,
just
shoot me
be
the
like,
article.
hey, okay, I'll shoot you the article. That's
I mean, I'm gonna read it over. I probably won't go crazy over it, but it's interesting to see.
I'm gonna drink this thing because my voice is dying.
All right. Let's see.
Can I join your game yet?
I'm just doing a couple missions on the Berg still, so
I should be able to join at the Berg though.
Yeah, I think so. All right, so yeah, I mean, there's Jesus Christ. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of shows. Apple has a lot of shows coming.
Yeah,
let's just
and then
put
they
it that
said
way.
There's new shows coming every month after they launch too.
Yeah, so I mean, it would take up an entire show. Probably going.
There's a lot of shows. That's why I was like, oh man. Anyways,
there is one that looks interesting. It's called Wolfwalkers. It's an animated cartoon. It's set in Ireland, and an Irish girl is set out on wiping demonic forces, evil wolves, until she meets a native. Yeah, we talked about this one 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, I don't think we knew it was animated though.
No, we did not.
Still sounds cool though.
Yeah, it sounds really good.
Yeah. And then there's also a little bit of some conspiracy things going on, because people were thinking that it can't be coincidence that Apple TV Plus has a strikingly similar name to Disney Plus.
Yes.
And neither streaming services are out yet, and Apple owns a chunk of Disney, so
yeah, that's until Disney buys them.
Yeah, I think it would be the other way around, homie.
I don't think so.
I disagree.
I disagree too.
Okay, fair enough.
I think you just don't want Disney to own Apple.
I mean, I don't, but again, Apple owns like 15% of Disney, so
Until Apple buys them.
I know it's nothing, but that's more than most fucking companies have, so whatever. Anyways. Yeah, Apple TV Plus coming this summer. Also of note, hitting it out there for Mike List, there's an Addams Family CGI animated movie coming this Halloween.
Saw that. It looks interesting.
Odd, I guess. I mean, obviously Addams Family should look odd, but the art style that they chose for the classic characters looks fucking weird.
Yeah, it does.
The word bulbousy comes to mind. Like a lot of strange bulbousy things.
Yeah,
I guess. Anyways, that's what we've got for entertainment. And I guess it kind of lumps in technology as well. Because really the only other thing that we had on technology was Google Stadia was also announcing that they are going to have cross-platform play for their online services. So I don't know how that's going to work, considering. I mean, I would guess that means Nintendo and Microsoft and PC and Google stuff will be cross-play with each other, and the verdict's still out on Sony stuff. But anyway, that's a thing. I thought I'd point that out. And then moving on to the big one for video games this week. Actually, a couple of little things for video games. I'll hit the Elder Scrolls thing, Brock, and then you can take the Borderlands 3 to town.
Okay.
Why does it? What? It says I failed to join your party.
Lame.
Can I get another invite?
1 second.
Oh wait, no, I got a join game here. Let me try that. There we go. Okay, cool. So surprising everybody this week, failed to join the match. You're playing different patched version than the other players? What?
It's because you sick.
I don't see how that could be. Let me close the application. Check for update. It says I'm on the latest version. Okay, do me a favor. Go into your PlayStation and hit options on your Handsome Collection icon.
Mm-hmm.
What fucking version number does it say?
Let's see.
So PlayStation button?
I already did that. I'm just looking up the 1.4.
Yeah, I got 1 point. Is it 1.04 or 1.4?
1.04.
Yeah, that's what I have. What the
Uh,
fucking ass?
I don't know.
Okay, well, I'm launching it again, and I'll try to join again.
Okay.
So surprising everybody this week, Bethesda launched the Elder Scrolls Blades for iOS and Android in early access. It early access launched on Tuesday, and it was kind of a weird experience because it was like, oh, it's fucking here and it looks cool, and like you download it, which it did, and then there's like this cool cutscene about like how the blades are like the secret. They're basically like the king's guard of like this dragonborn king or something.
Yeah.
And then you get thrown immediately into combat, and there's this dude in fire, and you get to like fight him. And then as soon as you kill him, it's cool. It's like, thank you for downloading Blades. To ensure a smooth experience for everyone, we are limiting access during the launch period.
Fuck you.
And it's like, god damn it. So it's like 60 seconds of gameplay.
Yeah, it's basically a big fuck you to fucking early access people.
it is definitely a big fuck you to early access people. However, as of like 30 minutes before the starting of this recording, I got into the Elder Scrolls Blades. Like, I'm playing it right now on my phone. And I have some very, 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 very early impressions to say. So, first of all, the game is like, it's very pretty until you look at certain parts of the town, and it's like, oh, it's like gorgeous, like light through trees, and there's like fire and like streams, and everything looks pretty. And then you like turn the corner, and then there's this dude with a beard, and he looks like a My First Elder Scrolls game like created character. Like, he looks terrible.
Yeah.
Like, it's just the bad textures, bad lighting. Like, it just looks so janky. So, you know, Bethesda jank, it's still there.
Yep.
Not much to say about combat. So it's from the first person perspective, and you touch and hold a part of a screen with your thumb to ready your sword. And then you flick in the direction that you want with the sword. And I want to distinguish this here. This is not the same as like you're swiping on the screen. You touch and hold a spot so your guy's like arm like readies the sword, like he's like ready to strike. Like, if you're
It's dumb.
like holding a trigger in Skyrim before you release a strike, it's like that. But then your swipe determines where your blade goes. So like you can aim for headshots or body shots or whatever. So you do have control on where your sword is slashing. And then there's a little button in the left-hand corner for you to like raise up your shield, basically.
I think it's dumb.
I mean, it's designed for you to do it one-handedly. So
Okay.
that's a thing.
That's still dumb. Like, why would you play a game one-handed unless you only had one hand?
Well, if you remember the press conference for this back last summer, they were talking about, you know...
Was that the same press conference where they said they were going to shatter the earth with Fallout 76?
Probably.
I just, like, I don't understand it. It's really fucking stupid. Like, why? I don't want to play a game single-handedly. That's not how I play games.
Okay, fair enough. But I mean, you don't have to do it single-handedly.
Yeah, but
So
even double-handedly, it's still not very intuitive.
Oh my
God. Just terrible.
Just stop.
No, never. Never.
So it's played from a first-person perspective. I was able to make a character. There's a ton of options for making your character. It was pretty in-depth. Not quite Skyrim in-depth, but maybe more like Elder Scrolls Online in-depth. And the movement, which I'd already seen on Reddit, is kind of has already been shit on a little bit. So it's first person perspective, so you'd like move your finger around the screen to like look, and then you tap on an area and then you walk towards it. And I can understand that being shit on because it's kind of an awkward movement situation. But as I found out, as I've just got into the game, you can basically have your two thumbs on the screen and use them just like you would the sticks on like a regular Skyrim. And move around that way, which is a lot better. So I think the movement being shit on has been over exaggerated, in my opinion. There's no voice acting, but the music is really good and is totally original to the game. Because I've heard the tunes in Elder Scrolls Online and Skyrim, like fucking falling asleep to it. So I feel like I know those pretty well, and these are new tunes, so that's cool. And I can't really speak about any other part of the game because that's all that I've done. I've killed some bandits. I walked into a town and I'm talking to a dude with a poorly rendered gray beard. There is dialogue options. I don't know if they do anything. Like, for example, I'm talking to this Junus the Elder right now, and it's like I have like 3 choices. Oh, actually, no, I have 4 choices. I can scroll up. It's like, what do you need me to do? What happened here? Where is everyone? And then I'm asking the Bloodfall Queen, who is she? So you can do different things there. But Elder Scrolls Blades, it's in early access right now. Look on Reddit right now. People have either mixed to pretty positive sort of previews of it. And that's what I've got to say about Elder Scrolls Blades. You wanna kick it home with the Borderlands 3 announcement there?
Sure. So Borderlands 3 was announced, and it basically was Borderlands, like just putting it all out there, like every time they have. Like they made a point to to be like a loot explosion, 1 billion loots and dollar loots and gun loots with legs, and it very funny and awesome and true to form for the Borderlands team.
Yeah.
I basically thought it was a throwing the gauntlet down on Anthem for them to be like, oh, our loot's already there and not broken, and there's fucking anything you can do. Whereas, loot's becoming a huge issue for Anthem players and kind of a factor of driving people away, actually. Unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean, I can't really speak. Like, I know that there's problems with loot right now in Anthem. I know for myself, and I think both you and I haven't played Anthem in a couple weeks, and it's from no like.
It's been
we think the game's bad or anything. It's like we're just kind of waiting for the next content drop.
Yeah.
So whatever's been going on in the patching and breaking of patches, and then patching that patch to then break other patch world, it sounds like it's sucky. It sounds like it's sucky for BioWare.
Yeah.
And I feel for them because the game is good. It's very good, but obviously they're having a bit of battle with the community right now, and all that sort of jazz. So the other things to point out about the Borderlands 3 announcement is this is speculation from the trailer. It looks like there's, much like all the other games, there's going to be 4 new Vault Hunters. It looks like there's a new Siren that has like multiple arms that is doing something.
Yep.
There's like a guy who summons like a mech that he can get on, or like other people in your party can like jump on and like attack with. There's like a Wildlands guy that looks like he's like summoning and or maybe like necromancing like different like critters to fight for him. So like maybe like a more bestial version of the soldier in Borderlands 2. So like rather than summoning a gun, you're summoning an animal to fight for you.
Yeah.
Or that sort of stuff. And then the other thing in the trailer that they stressed a lot of was worlds. And something that people may remember was that Gearbox, creator of Borderlands, they registered the name Border Worlds like a decade ago. But nothing came of it. And this game's officially called Borderlands 3. But in the trailer, they keep mentioning, like, you're going to go to many worlds, you're going to save the worlds, plural. And it looks like they're showing, like, a huge city, like the old kind of dusty frontier area from Pandora. They showed, like, a carnival world. They showed, like, a bunch of different areas. But just based on their verbiage in the trailer, it sounds like there's going to be, like, a ton of different worlds, which is totally fine. Like, I'm fine with that.
Yeah, it's going to be the nice next step for Borderlands, in my opinion.
Yeah. Now, there has been some pushback from the Borderlands community online, and basically, like, the trailer looks great, and it looks like fun and Borderlands, but kind of the pushback has been, it does kind of look just like more Borderlands 2. And so I kind of wanted to kind of dig into it with you a little bit. Like, do you think them just doing, like, I'm saying just based from the trailer, we haven't seen anything else, and the trailer does contain gameplay, but it doesn't really show menus, it doesn't show, new features or anything like that. It's just like, boom, Borderlands 3, it's here, it's got story, it's got a fuck ton of guns. It does have guns with legs on it.
Yes.
Which is super funny. But it's like from the trailer, it does look like I mean, I'm playing Borderlands 2 right now, and it's like the trailer looks like more Borderlands 2. So the question I pose to you, Brock, is if the game comes out, say this fall, and it is basically like new Borderlands 2 content, essentially, even though it's in a 3 package,
Yeah.
like, is that good enough, or do you feel like it needs something else to push itself over the edge? Because since Borderlands 2, we've had Destiny, Destiny 2, Division, Division 2. We've had Mass Effects. We've had Anthem. We've had did Diablo 3 come out after?
I believe it did.
You know, we've had Diablo 3. We've had a ton of looter shooters, you know, and one could arguably say Borderlands created the looter shooter genre. But you know, there's just been a fuck ton of competition. You know, and do you think them doing the same thing just with new content, do you think that that's enough, if that is indeed what it is?
Honestly, I don't see a problem with it. Like it's the same goofy thing that has always worked for Borderlands. Maybe it might be too little, too late, but I have a feeling that they might pull a rabbit out the hat like they did with the original Borderlands, which was supposed to be a much more serious game. And it was still going to be a looter shooter, but it was going to be more serious, kind of exploratory. And then a couple games with the same concepts came out and were much they had better teams backing them, like graphically and studio wise. So Borderlands took an about face 6 months from their release, and then they released the original Borderlands, and it was a huge success.
Yeah.
So, you know, they could do something like that again. They may come out with a like a Borderlands 3, but it looks like Destiny 2 or whatever, and be like, "Aha, I got you fuckers again."
I mean, maybe. I mean, at the end of the day, I think Borderlands is a special franchise.
Yes.
And there's definitely been a ton of games who have taken things from its formula, so to speak.
Agreed.
So I would hope, you know, based on the trailer, if it is basically more Borderlands 2, I do hope it is more of a 3, and it is bigger and badder than ever before. And I hope that they've really paid attention to their competition so that they can steal the things that they have done better, you know?
Or not do the things that their competition has done.
Well, yeah. I mean, I agree. You know, like, let's not have terrible RNG. Let's not have loading screens everywhere. Let's not have a broken online service at launch. Let's not have well, and I definitely do not think Borderlands is like the one franchise that has not done this, is a lack of content. Because the mere fact that, like, we're playing the Handsome Collection now, years and years and years later after it's released, and like I still haven't played and seen everything in the game. Like, you never played the DLCs, you know? I never finished the pre-sequel. Like, it's just a fuck ton of content, you know? So if one thing I'm sure of with the Borderlands 3 launch is that it'll be a fuck ton of content.
Yeah, it'll be a ton of gameplay and replayability, especially with all the new stuff, that the new hunters, the worlds, if that's the case, you know, if they're going to have worlds on it instead of just one planet. So there's a lot to hope for. And just because it looks like it's more of Borderlands 2, I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. At least not yet. And
considering where the others have failed, even if it is just Borderlands 2 on a new engine, on new hardware, with new content, that's not the end of the world.
No,
you know?
not at all.
So,
not by any means.
Also in this announcement, and this happened at as the opening for PAX East this week, they announced that Borderlands 1 Game of the Year edition is coming to Xbox One and PS4 April 3rd. It will also contain 4K updates. They updated the game engine and have included many of the Borderlands 2 menus, mini maps, and those kind of improvements to Borderlands 1. So that'll be a slightly refreshed experience if you want to get into the original Borderlands. It'll contain all the content from the original plus its 4 expansions. And for those at home, not only will it have 4K newly done textures, but it'll also have 4-player split screen. So if you have like a big ass 80-inch TV, you could sit on a couch for your friends, drink beers, and play Borderlands.
Nice.
Which is kind of awesome if you think about it.
Takes me back to playing GoldenEye.
Yeah, it does, right? At that same time, they announced an update, a free update pack for the existing Handsome Collection that's already on PC, PS4, and Xbox One. It's getting 4K textures, 4-player split screen, and I guess they're fixing some long-standing bugs that I guess have been bugging the community in regards to bosses and stuff. And that also hits April 3rd.
Nice.
And then on top of that, I guess April 3rd is just fucking Borderlands Day, because they also said they're going to announce a bunch more details about Borderlands 3 on April 3rd. So we just got a week to go before both we've got updates to the game we're playing right now, and people can play the original classic, and Handsome Collection's updated.
Yeah.
So
pretty exciting. It's a lot going on for Borderlands. Well, Gearbox in general.
It is for sure. And I watched the press conference with Randy Pitchford, who's the president of Gearbox, and he was like, it was funny. He announced Borderlands 3 to the PAX community. He basically got up on stage and he was talking a lot about the Handsome Collection updates, and then the crowd went actually pretty wild for the Borderlands 1 coming to consoles. It was actually a surprising crowd response. And he's like, oh, but we have this other thing, because we haven't really talked about the next Borderlands game. And he took off his jacket and he turned around and there's a big ass 3 on his jacket and colorful ass rhinestones. And then the crowd flipped their shit, and then he was like, oh yeah, we're working on something.
that's what I don't understand is there are really amazing games that are well worth the money for studios to update and bring into the next digital age, essentially. And they're like, oh no, we're just going to keep doing different things or trying different things that obviously aren't working. It's like, wow, why don't you just put out something that can help tide you over and give you enough time to actually develop a full-fledged game instead of a half-broken piece of shit.
Well, I'm gonna be fucking super blunt. As a Gearbox fan, that's probably what happened, because I played their last game, Battleborn, which is a criminally underrated game in my opinion. Fucking awesome. But alas, it came out right next to Blizzard's Overwatch, and the games were compared to each other for some reason, which is dumb because they're totally different games.
Yeah.
Other than the fact that they're both colorful first-person hero shooters, they play totally different. They're totally different games. And then Overwatch crushed them in sales, and then they had a slow death until they had to turn off the game, which sucks because the game is really good and it's full of Borderlands charm and Gearbox fun, and all the characters are awesome, and it plays great and it looks great. But you can bet dollars to donuts that's why, a year after that, it was, the Handsome Collection came out. Borderlands 2 and the pre-sequel, HDLized, ready to go on new consoles. And I think last fall, they had Borderlands 2 VR, which was somewhat of a surprise. So you can play Borderlands 2 in VR, although it's a different, it's not like you have the Handsome Collection and you can have, you can throw your VR headset on. You have to get a specific VR version of it.
Yeah,
which is cool. I don't personally feel like being in the Borderlands universe in VR. I'm good, but for those who want to do that, they can. So you have to wonder that that's probably, you saying do something that people will like so they can buy their time and do it right. That's probably what they've been doing for Borderlands 3.
Yeah.
So, and we have to remember, like, Gearbox has a long history that doesn't involve Borderlands. They did that World War II tactical shooter. They did a series of those. Fuck, what were those called?
World War
Was it Brothers in Arms? I think it was Brothers in Arms.
Band of Brothers?
No, not Band of Brothers. That was the HBO thing. I think it was Brothers in Arms.
There is a Band of Brothers game.
I don't know. Maybe they did that. But they did Band of Brothers. They did the original Halo, the first Halo PC port.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. In fact, I learned that they were actually considered by Microsoft to make Halo 4.
Well, that's
because
too
of
bad.
I mean, yes and no. I mean, it would have been a totally different Halo 4, I'm sure, if Gearbox had made it. But at the same time, if they hadn't, then we wouldn't have had probably Borderlands 2 and stuff,
Yeah.
So it goes. Man, I feel like I'm out of stuff to talk about.
Yeah, I mean, not too much.
I kind of just want to go back to playing Borderlands.
That makes sense.
Yeah, I also want to try to figure out why the fuck I can't get into a party with you. This is super dumb.
Yeah, that is kind of dumb.
Fix your broken game, April 3rd. Yeah, that's all the topics. We fucking blew through that one. I guess it's a quick episode this week.
Yeah.
Well, all right, Forkians. I'm your host, as always, author, podcaster, gamer, Tim K. Trotter, signing off. Talk to you all next week, and that's all I got. You want to do your shitty catchphrase?
Oh yeah, easy peasy.
Fucking terrible. Just the fucking, it's the worst. I hate it so much. Just like Mr. Peanut Butter. It's such garbage, trashy bastard stuff.
Why I do it.
I know. Tell y'all.
Goodbye, people.
Thank you for listening to a Dynamic Works production podcast. You can find our podcast at www.dynamicworksproductions.com. Feel free to email us at dynamicworks@mac.com.
This is Dominic Armato, the voice of Guybrush Threepwood, and you're listening to a Dynamic Works production podcast.
The Citadel, Arrival, is the first installment in a series of epic science fiction short stories reminiscent of the Pulp Fiction style. It's a fast-paced story that will take you through twists and turns that you will not expect, until they are thrust upon you with all the force, excitement, and chaos of a plasma cannon blast. The story follows Katarl, a nobody cog in the working wheels of a futuristic society run completely by Megacorp, a corporation that carefully runs and manages the lives of the people living under its sphere of power. On one of Katarl's few and far between days off from work, an outing he had hoped would be fun and relaxing turns into an explosive adventure that drags him kicking and screaming into situations and challenges that will make him question every aspect of his life. Watch this colorful tapestry unfurl as Katarl and his newfound allies find their way through this classic, yet oddly surprising tale of good and evil, where nothing is quite what it appears to be. That's The Citadel, Arrival, by author Tim K. Trotter, available right now on Amazon Kindle Store and iTunes iBookstore for only $2.99.
Not much. Excuse me.
Oh, good. You're on Borderlands 2?
It says it's got 5 minutes left. Finish downloads.
You're downloading it?
Yeah.
Nice.
That's why you start the show. I have to.
What do you mean? It says already started. It's recording. What do you want?
Oh, I wanted to show you this thing where They're doing renovations on a school in Oklahoma City, and they
Uh-huh.
found a bunch of chalkboards from 1917 completely preserved.
Okay. Okay. Okay, chalkboards preserved. Got.
Lessons that from 1917.
Okay, did they reflect our values and how we've gone downhill as a society and schooling?
Probably.
Okay, well then there you go.
All right.
Let's see here. I just got into the actual full game of Blades, Elder Scrolls.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's
How is it?
It's interesting. It actually has more control options than just like tapping and moving around. You can put your thumbs on the side of the screen like sticks.
Okay.
So it does work on all that jazz.
That's nice.
Yeah, there's the only thing so far. I'm not very far into it. Like I made a character. Character creation stuff's pretty deep. Is no voice acting, just kind of sad.
That's not surprising.
But you know, for a mobile game, I'll let it slide. Graphics are very strange because sometimes they look like super good, and then other times they look like super crap. Like I'm looking at a townsfolk dude, and he just looks like my first Elder Scrolls game.
Yeah.
To put it nicely. Yeah.
Well, Bethesda wanted to make a fucking mobile game more than they wanted to make a successful Fallout game. So.
Ooh. Preach. Okie dokie. Well, I guess we'll launch into it, and just send me an invite when you're in the game, because I'm sure you'll have to go through that stupid fucking frost area.
Yeah, that's
Your character. Who you running?
Probably the sniper guy.
Oh, Zero?
Is that his name?
The ninja guy?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Sounds good. Oh shit, where's my... Hey hon, have you seen my spin ring? It's supposed to be on the...
There's a bunch on your...
Yeah, I know there's a bunch over there, but have you seen the other one?
No, did you check the little
there
bit?
it is. No, it's on the ground. I got it. On the ground.
All right.
The Discord server's down? What?
It is?
I guess so. I just launched Discord. It's a Discord server down. Let me relaunch it. Nope, it seems back up. Okay.
You're breaking up, dude. Like,
oh, I
the
am?
internet's going. Yeah, like the internet's going in and out of your mic or something.
Shit. Well, let me check the internet then. I see in game now. My first gun.
Yeah. All right.
Let's see. No, download speeds are okay.
Maybe it was just your mic.
Maybe. Does it seem consistent now?
Yeah, it was fine up until about like 10 seconds ago, and then it was like super weird, like just dropping it, like you were going through a tunnel.
Your upload's been 11.50.
Yeah, it's a little tiny bit slower, but we're also all on it right now, so I'm not worried about it. Okay, cool. Well, let's kick this pig. Cut in.